Often referred to as the Great for his extraordinary military, leadership, and strategic skills, Alexander was a son of King Philip II and his fourth wife, Olympus. He was dictatorial, ruthless, and ambitious to the point of regarding himself as divine. Alexander the Great's ability to plan and strategize on a large scale allowed him to win many battles, even when he was outnumbered. He was inspiring and bold as he was devoted to training his men, rewarding them with honors and spoils, and going into battle with them, which furthered their confidence and devotion. So, what are some of the most unforgettable accomplishments of one of history's greatest military minds? Watch. Number 10. One of the most influential people in history. Alexander the Great's empire was the largest by the time of his death, covering approximately 5,200,000 square kilometers, stretching from the Empire of Macedon from Greece to India. His conquests included Macedonian rule to several parts of Asia. Many of these areas remained under Greek rule for the next 2 to 3 centuries. Contact and trade between the East and West was also increased through Alexander's campaign. Alexander also founded about 20 cities that were named after him. The most famous one was Alexandria in Egypt, which developed to be a cultural and intellectual center of the ancient West. Alexander was greatly admired in the ancient world, especially by the Roman leader who considered him their role model. His military tactics are still being taught in military academies, and he's ranked among the most influential people in history. Number 9. Battle of the HYDASPES in Western India. The Battle of HYDASPES was fought in 326 BCE between Alexander the Great and King Porus. It took place near Hydaspes, modern-day Jhelum River in the Punjab region of the Indian subcontinent. The Greeks emerged victorious, and Porus surrendered. Following the victory, larger areas of Punjab were absorbed into the Alexandrian Empire, and the dethroned leader Porus became reinstated by Alexander as a subordinate ruler. Alexander had been impressed by Porus's bravery. Besides being a great military tactician, Alexander was known for being persevering, diplomatic, ruthless, and even kind at some point. These qualities made him undefeated in battles. Number 8. Battle of the Persian Gate. This battle was a military conflict between a Persian force led by the satrap of Persis, Ariobarzanes, and the invading Hellenic League, commanded by Alexander the Great. Alexander was ambushed at the Persian Gate while traversing the ceremonial capital of the Persian Empire. The Greek army suffered heavy losses, but after holding the gate for a month, the Persians were finally surrounded and defeated. The victory in this battle signified Alexander was finally conquering the powerful Achaemenid Empire. The Battle of the Persian Gate took place in 330 BC. Number 7. Battle of Gaugamela. Also called the Battle of Arbela, it took place in 331 BC. In this battle, Alexander the Great completed his conquest of Darius III's Persian Empire. It was an out-of-this-world victory against an army that had outnumbered Alexander's army on the ground proposed by Persians. After this victory, Alexander was undoubtedly the king of all Asia. Darius had offered Alexander half of his kingdom. However, Alexander rejected the offer by simply saying there could never be two sons. The Battle of Gaugamela was one of Alexander's finest victories, as Darius was killed by one of his own, Bessus. Alexander gained a mind-blowing amount of wealth in the Persian capital of Susa and Babylon. He declared himself to be the Persian king of kings. Number 6. Siege of Tyre and Gaza. In 332 BC, the Siege of Gaza was a military event in the Egyptian campaign of Alexander the Great. During the Siege of Gaza, Alexander succeeded in reaching the walls by utilizing the engines he had employed against Tyre. Tyre, the largest city of Phoenicia, had refused Alexander's peace proposal, claiming that they were neutral in the war. After the defeat of Tyre, Alexander headed to Jerusalem to set siege of Gaza, which was a fortified hill. Battus, the commander of Gaza, had refused to surrender to Alexander. However, after 3 attempts that bore no fruit, Gaza was finally conquered. The defeat of Gaza pushed Alexander into Egypt, where he was more of a liberator. Here, he founded the city of Alexandria, which later became the center of Hellenistic culture and commerce. Number 5. Battle of Issus. The Battle of Issus occurred in 333 BC between the Achaemenid Empire and the Hellenic League led by Alexander the Great. It was the second great battle of Alexander's conquest of Asia and the first encounter between Darius III and Alexander the Great. The Macedonian troops emerged victorious against the Persian forces. After the Hellenic League defeated the Persian satraps of Asia, minor Darius took personal control of his army. He gathered reinforcements and then proceeded to lead his army in a surprise behind the Hellenic advance to cut off their line of supply. Alexander had no choice but to countermarch, and the stage was set for battle near the mouth of the Panaris River and the town of Issus. Darius had apparently not analyzed his previous defeat, as Alexander was on the unfavorable ground, and he commanded his infantry to hold a defensive position. This attack surprised Darius, who was forced to flee. The Battle of Issus is considered a major breakthrough in Alexander's long campaign against Persia. Number 4. Battle of the Granicus River. The Achaemenid Empire was the first Persian empire founded by Cyrus the Great and was one of the largest empires in history. It was managed efficiently using satraps under the king. The Battle of the Granicus took place in 334 BC. It was here that Alexander defeated the forces of Persian satraps of Asia Minor, including a large force of Greek mercenaries led by Memnon of Rhodes. The battle took place on the road from Abydos to Dicilium at the crossing of the Granicus River. By fighting on the bank of the river, Alexander had minimized the advantage the Persians had in numbers and had rendered their chariots ineffective on muddy and soft soil. Several Persian nobles were killed by Alexander himself or his horse companions. Number 3. Series of wins to ensure complete control over Greece. Alexander wanted to secure his northern frontiers before his Asian campaign. He went north and defeated the Thracian revolts, headed by Glaucius, king of Talanti, and Cleodas, king of Illyria. These victories were followed by the razing of the city of Thebes, who once again revolted. The wins finally brought the whole of Greece to embrace the rule of Alexander. Within a span of just 2 years, Alexander had ensured complete control over Greece and concentrated his efforts on Asia. Number 2. Reaffirmation of Macedonian rule as king. At the age of 20, Alexander was proclaimed the king of Macedonia after the assassination of King Philip II in 336 BC. The king's death emboldened many tribes and states like the Thebes, Athens, and Thessaly to revolt. Alexander was quick to react, riding with an army of 3,000 soldiers to Thessaly, forcing them to surrender. Athens soon came into the fold, sending their envoy, and in the city of Corinth, Alexander was given the title hegemon of the Greek forces against the Persians. Number 1. The Battle of CHAERONEA and defeat of Sacred Band. Some independent city-states in Greece, especially Athens and Thebes, perceived the rise of Alexander's father, Philip II of Macedonia, as a threat. In 338 BC, this led to the Battle of CHAERONEA in Boeotia, central Greece, where 18-year-old Alexander played a key role in leading the left-wing command to help his father emerge victorious. Led by Alexander, the cavalry wing annihilated the Sacred Band of Thebes, an elite corps previously regarded as invincible. This win put Macedonia in a commanding position in Greece, enabling the future adventures of Alexander. The Lion of Chaeronea's statue was erected by Thebans in memory of their dead during the Battle of Chaeronea. Alexander the Great surely created the largest empires of the ancient world in little over a decade. What if the legendary leader had lived longer? On the other hand, he receives criticism because he didn't invest enough time and energy in the peaceful administration of his empire. We hope you enjoyed this video. Just be sure to subscribe to our channel for more of our amazing content. And please give us a like and share the video. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell for timely updates of our new uploads. Feel free to share your thoughts with us in the comment section down below.